Look at this shit.
We are live at the MLB Winter Meetings. It's your guy Hector Beauchamp from Latino Sports and Uptown Sports TV. And you see the panel that we have. We got Theo Alcintron from WFAN. I got my guy Brian Fonseca. The New York Post is in the building. And of course, from Fireside Yankees, we have Ryan Garcia. Fellas, how are we feeling? Theo Al, did you punch a wall today?
No, but I broke out a shirt that I made, and I never had a chance to wear it, custom made. So it says "Game Over" 80s style with the trumpet. I never had a chance to wear it. I made it customized for Edwin Díaz, and now his Coquito license has been revoked for the shit he did today.
I saw you unfollowed him on Twitter. Are you emotionally recovered yet from that?
And Instagram, considering the way shit went down, if you listen to the reports, like he didn't even give the Mets a chance to. They thought they were still bidding, and he went out like a sucker. And I never thought I'd see the day where a superstar Boricua, instead of beating them, would join them. So I'm disappointed.
Brian, how you feeling?
I am not as mad at Edwin Díaz as I am just the Mets in general, being the front office, the ownership, the brain trust. I think you dropped the ball here. Like that's ultimately what it is. So the deal was 3 years, $69 million. If you would have told me maybe 2 days, 3 days, a day ago, earlier this morning, if you would have told me that would have gotten it done, I would have been like, you're crazy. And the fact that the report comes out from Anthony DiComo, 3 years, $66 million with some wiggle room was the Mets offer. And it's like, if there was wiggle room, make the better offer. Do it from the beginning. Like, why wait? Because you know how important this dude is, and now Devin Williams is on.
You're welcome. Just know that you're welcome. And from Fireside Yankees, my guy Ryan Garcia. Ryan, we're on pins and needles waiting for some Yankee news to drop. But what's your thoughts on Edwin Díaz and him going to LA?
Yeah, so I mean, if I were a Met fan, I'd be upset with the player. The player did not show interest in returning, despite that not really being the feeling around the Met organization and around baseball. I don't think Met fans, when they heard the end of season pressers, Pete Alonso on one side says, "Yep, I'm opting out. I'm going to hit the market." Edwin Díaz goes, "No, I want to talk with my family, think about the decision." It felt like a player who was really considering, hey, do I want to even test the idea of leaving the Mets? And the idea that the Mets wouldn't even get a call back. If you told a Met fan that Edwin Díaz signed a 3-year, $69 million contract if you told him on November 1st and he'd sign that deal, at least 90% of the fan base would tell you Edwin Díaz is a New York Met. And so I don't even for the organization, I do agree that you did kind of play with fire by not making a strong enough offer and kind of leaving Edwin Díaz without the numbers he was looking for as long as you did. But on the other side, it's, man, you really thought you were going to get a chance to counteroffer, and he left over $3 million. He didn't leave over 10, 15, 20. He didn't leave because he got 2 more guaranteed years. He left because of $3 million. What does that say about the Mets and the potentially fractured relationship they had with Díaz? Do free agents feel conflicted about their chances of winning with the Mets? Do they believe they have chances to win or opportunities to win elsewhere? What is the feeling? I'm so curious to kind of get the following day's stories. I want to know what went on with Díaz and the Mets, because this is pretty stunning to me.
Well, the other thing is that it came out that 2 things bothered Edwin Díaz. Well, one thing is his brother is in LA, and his brother raved about being the Dodgers and the infrastructure there. 2, the other report is that Edwin Díaz is not happy that the Mets fired Jeremy Hefner. This is stuff that's come out in the last, I think, hour or 2. I could be wrong in time frame, but that came out. Listen, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. 3 years. Everybody thought it was going to be 4 years, 5 years, a 3-year deal. The Mets should have did whatever they had to do. Wiggle these nuts. Like, I don't care about wiggle room, bro. Like, go do what you have to do and fucking pay the guy. The guy proved that he could pitch in New York. He sucked his first couple years, came out the other side, best reliever in baseball, blows out his knee celebrating at the fucking World Baseball Classic, struggles, gets demoted. Remember, he wasn't the closer anymore. Then he fucking bounces back and is the reliever of the year. So I'm a firm believer, if you have the best guy in your organization at a position, he's the best at his position, you lock him up, and the Mets fucking screwed the pooch with this one.
Brian, I'll toss it over to you. I'm sending over an email to Al what he owes for the swear jar. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I got this Yankee logo above my head, so I think I should get excused for that. You see that right there? I should be fucking excused for that. There you go. Yankees brew. Yeah.
Look. Listen. I'm not. I ain't shooting any bail to the front office on this one. Like you can't even let him. You can't even let him negotiate with the Dodgers. Like it can't even get to that point. I know it's free agency. He hasn't been able to experience free agency before, but if you're serious and you know how important this dude is, you can't let it get to the point where they're flirting with the team that is beating everyone's ass in Major League Baseball, that has won another World Series, and it looks like they're not going to fucking stop. Like, you cannot, like, just business-wise, you cannot allow that to happen. You can't allow yourself to be in that position. And the fact that you allowed yourself to be in that position where you get railroaded and taken advantage of, like, yeah, I don't fault Edwin Díaz because he probably talked to the Dodgers and realized, oh, these guys are actually more serious. They're not penny pinching. And this comes after a week where Steve Cohen is celebrating. You know, they have the casino in Queens finally. So we got the Nas Casino. It's going to be an Aqueduct or whatever, and now we got the Steve Cohen Casino that's going to be by Citi Field. And it's like, cool, you got the casino. You're worth $23 billion, and you let your closer go to the best team in baseball, who has more fuck you money than you do. And if Pete Alonso walks out next, then what are we talking about? You know what I mean? So it's Fred Wilpon shit. It's Wilpon-esque. That's what it is.
I know what we're talking about when you said, what are we talking about? Pete walks away. We're talking about the Yankees losing another guy to the Mets and Cody Bellinger, because they'll overpay for Cody Bellinger to make up for Pete Alonso being gone. I guarantee that. Guaranteed.
And it's been less than 10 minutes and we already have Yankee slander from Theo Au.
No, there's no slander. No. That's just facts. Because the Yankees are not going to go above and beyond. From what I heard, they might be out of it when it comes to Bellinger, because it's reaching the years that they're not comfortable going to. If Steve Cohen, the Mets will do it. We all know that.
Well, I'm gonna give my take on that. Before I do that, I want to shout out the chat. Everybody that's in the building. My guy Jonathan is here. Hayden Bayer, Jacob Petruzzi is in the building. One of the best moderators that's on all the YouTube channels. My guy Bronx Junior Lab is in the building. David Singh is in the building. Zoe, the engineer, is in the building. The Ace Avenue, my co-host on the Yankees Morning Brew, is here. If you guys can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Everybody that's on the panel, all their social medias are in the description of this video. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Shout out to my guy Brian Fonseca, who joined last minute. He's doing a Knicks watch along. So I'm gonna give you my take real quick. When it comes down to Pete Alonso, and it's something I mentioned about Kyle Schwarber. When you look at Pete Alonso, it's going to be hard for him to get that 5 or 6 year deal that he's trying to get. There's some people talking about getting a 4-year deal may be tough, because when you look at his tools, he's a great power hitter in the middle of your lineup. When it comes to his defense, he's suspect. He's not a great base runner. Him and I both look like the guy from Grand Theft Auto 3 running up the street. So when it comes to Pete Alonso, what do you value? Do you value him as your franchise leader in home runs? Or with Edwin Díaz leaving and all this chatter about the locker room being in turmoil with the New York Mets, does that have anything to do with it? And when it comes down to Cody Bellinger, with Kyle Schwarber giving a 5-year deal, Scott Boras is pushing hard for a 6 or 7 year deal for Cody Bellinger. Who's going to do it? I don't know.
Well, what you say, Heck, about Pete Alonso running around the bases like a drunk bear?
No, I said him and I, we both look like the character from Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah,
you got better hair than he does. You got better hair than he does, Hector.
I have no hair. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's the point. Pete, I don't know what he's doing with that shit. Look. There's a word, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say because I'm gonna get off because we got to get ready for the show. We're gonna be live at 8:30 on the Post YouTube channel. Knicks Raptors. If you're interested, Knicks are probably gonna win.
Who's your guest?
We have Andrew Salop combo.
Okay.
Basketball broadcaster, former professional basketball player. Should be fun. Look, last thing I'm gonna say about this. There's a world where this works out. Like there's a world where this works out. Devin Williams is back to where he was pre-Yankees. You can tell by me saying this, I don't believe this is going to happen, but there's a world we have to allow us to think about this. There's a world where this works out. Edwin Díaz maybe falls off a cliff this year or after a year, whatever, gets hurt again, whatever the case may be. And the Mets actually figure it out. They retool and they're a competent team and the locker room stuff is put to bed and they're winning 90-something games and they're back in the playoffs and they make another run. Cool. No Met fan is trying to hear that shit right now.
Not today.
Like, not today. Like, today is not the day to be like, oh, silver linings. It's like, no, David Stearns, you did not come from Milwaukee to New York with Steve Cohen, who again is worth $23 billion and climbing. I think it was $16 billion when he got the Mets.
Huh.
You did not come here to play Moneyball. That's not the job. Okay. And both New York teams, this is actually my concern. This is my concern with the Yankees too. It's like, yo, this is still a baseball town. We love basketball. We love football. Both football teams suck. We love basketball. We love like a whole bunch of shit here in New York City. This is still a Yankees Mets city. This is still a baseball town. And if both teams are going to come out and be like, yo, there's a limit to how much we can spend in a non-salary cap era, like ain't nobody trying to hear that shit, especially with Steve Cohen, who's worth, again, $23 billion and climbing. I have no sympathy for billionaires, especially with the largest wage gap that we've ever seen between rich people and working class people. Like, I'm not trying to pity. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Okay. Spend the fucking money. That's all I got to say.
Well, you talked, wait, real quick, Brian, you mentioned the whole thing about billionaires and stuff. Do you know how many people from the poorest all the way up would add up to the 62 richest people in the world? How long would it take to get there? How many people?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Over 3.5 billion people to match the 62 of the 62 richest people in the world. Go fuck yourself, billionaires.
Yeah.
Right there. Sweat. Give me a sweat jar. Take a screenshot. Here you go. Spend
I think we could all agree on that.
Baseball in New York is cooked, and also America is cooked. That's the lesson today, folks.
We're gonna dive.
Let's go next.
Next collab, Hector. I'll be in a better mood. But today, I just can't with this shit.
Well,
nice
I hope
you, Ryan. Good seeing y'all in the chat. I'll be back doing live streams on my YouTube very, very soon, and Hector will be there as well. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate
Brian, have a good time at the show. Say what up to Dex for us.
Yeah.
Will do.
All right, later, brother. Our guy Brian Fonseca. Make sure you guys give him a follow. The link to our Discord is in the bio. I'm still pushing that Discord if you guys want to join. Ryan, I'm tossing it over to you to give us your thoughts on what both Al said and what Brian said as well on his way out.
Yeah, so first in talking about financial commitments and the financial commitments needed to win, to be a Yankee or Met fan is an expensive experience. Parking, needing to take public transportation, which the prices for that only continue to go up. If you're a New Yorker, you're aware of that. To buy merchandising, when these teams make big acquisitions, they raise their prices, season ticket prices, things of that nature. For the Met fan, they were promised a World Series contender. In fact, they were promised a World Series by this point in time of the Steve Cohen tenure. For the Yankee fan, they have seen their team get knocked out again and again and again in the postseason. Granted, they did go to the World Series a year prior. That's great. But at the end of the day, you need to invest in your rosters. You need to make sure you're putting out the best product on the field, because the Los Angeles Dodgers are the best product on the field. They are the flagship franchise of baseball. And if either of these two teams want to advertise themselves as a premium franchise, the gap between the Dodgers and everybody else is growing larger. The Yankees and the Mets, I think for the Mets with Steve Cohen, you see like the net worth and you think this guy's the creme de la creme in terms of rich owners. This is another big market team. The Yankees went from the premier franchise in baseball to they're just another big market team. Do you want to stop being just another big market team, or do you want to be like the Dodgers, a team that when your name is even mentioned in free agent rumors, fear overtakes fan bases? When the Yankees were mentioned in rumors 15 years ago, every fan of whoever that incumbent team was coming from would be like, oh man, no, please. Oh man, if that's really their guy, they could blow us out of the water. For the Mets, I thought that was kind of the way things would go. And in a sense, yes, when the Mets are involved in things, yeah, definitely you feel a sense of fear that they're going to outbid anybody. But the Dodgers have kind of, by taking Diaz, have kind of gone, whoa. When we want a guy and when you want a guy, we still get him, because you maybe are willing to bid just as much as we are, but they want to come here. They don't want to go to you. So these two teams need to do more. They need to make sure they remain aggressive on the market. You can't really lose Alonso now if you're the Mets, or you better have one heck of a pivot, backup, no one saw this coming plan in order to make that happen. And the trade market, while it's full of interesting players, I don't foresee the Mets getting Ketel Marte. I don't know if there's like another like Neil moving position player who gets moved who ends up a Met. They're going to, and for the Yankees, it's the same deal. They can't, if they're not going to be on Tucker and they don't end up with Bellinger, going to be really hard for them to put together the left field situation they want to have in the lineup they want to have for 2026. So these two teams, they've got work to do, and they have not gotten close to finishing the work they need to do.
When you talk about the finances in Major League Baseball, December 1st, 2026 is when the current CBA, it expires. So what we know as the current landscape of the finances in Major League Baseball are going to change with private equity firms taking over and buying teams like the Dodgers and like the Rogers Group. The last time the Yankees won the World Series in 2009, they had a $220 million payroll. The second highest payroll was the New York Mets at 105. The days of the Yankees doubling up the second team behind them when it comes to payroll, it's over. And it's not about the Yankees not having the willingness to spend money, because when you have a $300 million payroll, you should be able to be competitive. You should be able to put a team out there that can make it to the World Series and win it. It's allocating your funds properly. And when you talk about billionaires and all of our love-hate relationship with them, what separates a good billionaire or a smart billionaire from a dumb billionaire is, who do you hire? Are you hiring the right people to be in the position so they can properly bring in whatever free agent, hire a scouting director, et cetera, et cetera? You can have all the analytics in the world, but if you don't have the proper people in place to relay that message to the players so they could put that analytics into practice, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, the one thing you did say is, you talked about the Yankees last time, their payroll last time in the World Series. How about the last time the Mets won in 1986? What was the payroll then in 1986? The last time we won.
And I also think it's important to note, when it comes to these payroll conversations and, these title droughts or whatever it may be, culturally speaking, let's kind of look at the recent history of sports. LA has become this premium destination across sports, not something you want if you're New York. It's always been this rivalry of the East and West Coast. And in today's world, not just in today's baseball world, in today's sports world in general, the West Coast has kind of overtaken the East Coast as this desirable destination for becoming a star, being rich, all of things of that nature. You want to look at, in the NFL, the Rams and the Chargers are significantly more competitive than the Giants and the Jets are. I mean, the Jets don't make the playoffs then ever. The Giants are a joke. Why would you watch, if you're a casual football fan getting into football, do you know of Matthew Stafford? You probably do. And you probably know that you just saw Matthew Stafford a few years ago win a Super Bowl. In the NBA world, obviously the Lakers have always kind of been dominant in that regard. And the Knicks have kind of come back to prominence, but for a very long time, the Knicks were out of the limelight. And despite the Knicks being in the limelight suddenly, once again, the Lakers have Luka Doncic. They have LeBron James. They have arguably the greatest player of all time, and a top 5 player in today's league. In the NHL level, I mean, the Kings beat the Rangers about a decade ago in the Stanley Cup Finals. I know in MLS, the LA team beat the Red Bulls about a year ago. So point is, in all this, not trying to get too crazy here, but you've got to make New York a draw. And yeah, when you've got a really harsh winter, maybe it's hard for some people to buy into that, but in general, why go to New York when you can go to LA? That is the question in baseball. That's the question in general, but specifically in baseball, why go to the Mets or the Yankees when you can go to the Dodgers? Why? Why would Edwin Díaz go play for the Mets when he can go play for the Dodgers? That's really the question here, right? Why? Why would he do it?
Al, I want to ask you, as somebody that works at WFAN, the home of the New York Yankees, how you doing? As somebody that works there, when it comes to how quiet they've been so far in the winter meetings, what's your take on it? I know you have some connections, some people that are even here walking around. What's your thoughts on the Yankees and everything that's transpired over the first 2 days is with them being very quiet?
They're pissed. Their fan base is pissed. They're crying. They think it's like they're pulling a Will Ponds move. Hal Steinbrenner crying broke. Nobody wants to hear that, like Brian said. Nobody wants to hear that crap. Usually the Yankees have already dropped the bomb or two, and it's like, oh, shit, here we go. And this is why I tell Yankee fans that were making jokes about the Mets taking Yankee scraps, and I've listed a whole bunch of former Mets that were Mets first, and the Yankees signed them up, is you worry about the Blue Jays. Worry about the Red Sox. Worry about the Orioles, because if the Orioles offer Pete Alonso a 4 or 5 year deal, he's out. If the Red Sox give him a 4 or 5 year deal, he's out. He's joining them. The Blue Jays have money to spend, and they're defending AL champs. The Blue Jays are the team to worry about. Forget the Mets. Like, keep the Mets names out your mouth. Worry about your own division. And the Blue Jays are for real. It was funny when people were saying, "Oh, the Blue Jays, it's a one-hit wonder." No, it's not, bro. They got a decent farm system. They got some young arms in the system, and they got a young squad. They're going to be a problem for a long, long time. So I know Yankee fans at the fan are not happy. They're cracking their jokes, but I don't want to hear Yankee fans complain because for the longest time, you were the top of the mountain, number one spenders, blew everyone out the water. And now the Dodgers are doing the same thing. It comes down to play development. Some of the Yankees have had issues doing over the years, developing these young players. They hold on to their prospects too long when they can cash them in, and when they don't cash them in, they end up sucking on the main roster. Dodgers develop their players, they develop their prospects, and then they cash in the chips to load up their squad. The Mets are trying to do the same thing, and I would not be shocked because David Stearns had the stupid smirk on his face today. I didn't want to see it today. If the Mets pull the move of all moves and Scooble is a Met.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'll toss it over to you. I actually saw David Stern when he was walking over, and he did have a smile on his face. Go ahead, Ryan.
I didn't want to add.
Something's up.
According to Jeff Passan, the split between Edwin Díaz and the Mets started when they did not give him a heads up about the decision to sign Devin Williams to a 3-year contract. So I find that interesting. I think that's me personally.
That's a bitch move.
I was gonna say that doesn't feel like an appropriate reason to say, I want to get up out of here. You know, the pitcher was going to act in his own best interest. That's what free agents do. If the pitcher wanted the team to, like, if you're, this is kind of like, and I say this in the benefit of players too, teams are going to act in their own best interests. Therefore, players should as well. Well, that goes both ways. If players in free agency are going to act in their best interest, which is their right in free agency, that is what you are entitled to when you hit the market, teams are going to do the same as well. It just feels very, that seems petty. No, like that seems petty. Yeah. Is that a good word to use here? That just feels petty.
Nah, you're being polite. That's a bitch move. He's sensitive. That sensitive move. The whole point is to strengthen the team, strengthen the bullpen, so you can win a championship. Oh, you signed this guy. I don't want to be. I'm sensitive. Get out of here then. Get out of here.
I think what it is, and Al, you can let me know if there's anything to this, but Edwin Díaz has been pushing for the Mets to trade for his brother, so his brother could be on the same team. So
sucks.
But so did Devin Williams last year. It's not like Devin Williams had an all-star season last year.
No. I understand. I know that the first couple of months Devin Williams sucked, but he found himself. Edwin Díaz's brother has not been able to find himself in a couple of years now. His brother stinks. And I understand you want to be with his brother in LA. Enjoy the sunset. Let me tell you right now, Edwin, you might win one ring in LA, but if you were to do it as a Met, that's like winning 40 rings considering all the crap. And you would have been a god in New York City if you'd have been the one that helped the Mets win a World Series ring.
Ryan, backstage when we first started, we was talking, going back and forth. Mackenzie Gore, that seems to be what's heavy right now with the rumors to the New York Yankees. With the market being unknowing right now for Cody Bellinger, what's your takes on the Yankees pivoting and trading for Mackenzie Gore? So if the Yankees trade for Mackenzie Gore, that means they're out on Imai, right? We would assume.
Yeah, and you know, the thing I think the Yankees are trying to avoid is something similar to last year with Juan Soto. Now, for Juan Soto, you wait for Juan Soto. Yes, you're willing to let Willy Adames sign elsewhere. Yes, you're willing to let Blake Snell sign elsewhere. This is a generational, once-in-a-lifetime, Hall of Fame, going to go down as a top 20 player to ever play the sport potential kind of player. That is not what Tatsuya Imai is. That's not what Cody Bellinger is. So when you assess the market, you need to go out and get an impact piece for your rotation. You jump at an opportunity to do it at a price point that you're comfortable with. And in the case of Mackenzie Gore, kind of the recent trend we've seen in free agency, we're going to apply this here. Devin Williams, he got $51 million, not because of the ERA this past year, but because the Mets believe that he was unlucky and that he can be better in 2026. Why did the Blue Jays commit $210 million to Dylan Cease? Again, not the ERA, the swing and miss stuff, the ability to improve ERA-wise on that season. The same case is kind of here for Mackenzie Gore, although I don't think he has the same, like, he doesn't have the track record of Cease or Williams. He's not of that caliber, in my opinion. He has pretty good stuff. He's in an organization with the Nationals where under GM Mike Rizzo, they were very much behind the 8 ball in player and pitching development. The Yankees are considered near the top in terms of pitching development. They've been able to maximize pitching talent in the last few years. Matt Blake is very respected in the industry. When it comes to Gore, he's 26. He's going to turn 27 next year. He is only a few months older than Will Warren. He's younger than Luis Heel. He's about a year and a half older than Cam Schlittler. This is not a guy where you add him and you go, man, this is the peak of his powers. He will never get any better than this. This is a guy who's finding himself still. This is a guy who I think the Yankees could work with. And if you want to kind of look at their recent trend with lefties, Rodon and Fried are the big lefties they brought in over the last few years. You want to mention Yarbrough in this as well. Their changeups or sinkers or both have gotten better in their time with the Yankees. Yarbrough fixed up his changeup. It was one of his best pitches. Rodon added a changeup and then added a sinker this past year. Fried tweaked the sinker and it moved a lot more. It was a better pitch for him in 2025. So I do think Gore is a good, a solid starter already, but the upside for him to be a better starter, maybe even a number 2 starter, definitely there. So I like the idea of trading for Mackenzie Gore, and I hope the Yankees walk away with a starter this free agency or trade market window.
Guys, we got over 525 people in the building rocking out with us, 81 on YouTube. If you guys can, hit that like button. We're sitting on 23 likes on YouTube. Let's try to get the 50 likes. And like always, the link to everybody's social medias are in the description of this YouTube live. Make sure you guys go and follow Theo Al. Of course, if you're not following Ryan Garcia or Fireside Yankees, you're living under a rock because they're putting out great content and they're killing it right now. But Al, I'm going to toss it over to you. Mackenzie Gore. Mets, Nationals, you've seen him before. What's your take on Mackenzie Gore? Is there truth to what Ryan is saying about him just being a product of being unlucky?
He's not, there's no in between. He's either really good or he stinks. That's the thing with him. When he's good, it's sensational stuff, electric stuff. When he's bad, it's just bad. So there's no in the middle. If the Yankees can find a way to get him to the middle, then they've already made progress if they're able to pull the trade off of Mackenzie Gore. But to me, he's hit or miss. He's either, like I said, really good or he just flat out stinks.
Now, you brought up Tariq Skubal. When you look at when he first came out or when he first made his major league debut, he struggled for his first 2 or 3 seasons. Same thing like Mackenzie Gore, both top-rated prospects. Obviously, Tariq Skubal is amazing right now. I'm not saying that Mackenzie Gore is up there, but can you see a scenario where he finds himself with the New York Yankees or with another team?
Ron, you want to answer that or is it me?
Yeah, I'll start and I'll say with Tarek Skubal here. The Mets it just feels like Tarek Skubal and the Mets is a perfect pairing. Now, the Dodgers are a team I imagine will show interest, but the Mets have a surplus of pitching talent. They've built the infrastructure inside their organization to develop pitching talent consistently at the minor league level that will allow them to both trade from their system and then replenish from within. They are very, very much a highly rated farm system. You'll see some outlets consider them their number 1 farm system, and it will not be because of New York bias or East Coast bias. It'll be because you've got 8, 9, potentially 10 guys in that group who could be considered top 100 prospects, depending on how you value certain guys. They've got tons of young pitching. And when you talk about, hey, we just lost Edwin Díaz, I want to take a trip down memory lane. Does anyone remember the last time the Mets kind of felt scorned by a free agent? Not the same profile of free agent, but it was Steven Matz. And it got to the point where Steve Cohen tweeted, This was like these negotiations or this and that. Like, that's the most mad I've seen an owner take something publicly. What did he do right after that? He brought in Max Scherzer. He made a flurry of signings. Starling Marte joined the Mets. Mark Canha joined the Mets. Yep. They went out there and spent. Is this a situation where, not saying because Diaz left, but because the Mets feel a little bit scorned, they go, come on, let's press that button. Yes, press that button for Skubal. And if you're Stearns, if you're Cohen, you're telling Stearns, hey, yes, I know that if we trade these guys and Skubal leaves, it'll kind of hurt us, but I promise you that Skubal will not get a better offer financially from anybody else. If he signs somewhere else, and it'll be because he didn't want to be here. It won't be because we didn't offer the money to him. So, and Boris I don't think Boris is the kind of guy to leave money on the table and not go back to the team. So I think you can have a more reliable negotiation with Skubal, not about an extension, but in free agency. I feel like that's that's just the Mets guy, right? Like that's that's the move you make when you feel scorned by Edwin Díaz. And then, and I don't know how you feel, but like, I would, dude, Edwin Díaz, who's Edwin Díaz? If you got Tarek Skubal on your baseball team, why would I even care about Edwin Díaz at that point?
Yeah, I said the same thing. If you can get Skubal, I think that'll make a lot of Met fans forget Edwin Díaz. If you could add to the bullpen, El Suarez or Fairbanks, I think that'll help the Mets also get over it. I love the fact that Devin Williams speaking today, not much of a personality, by the way. He was talking on Mets Hot Stove, and he said that, Tyrone Taylor was the first person that reached out, former teammate to Milwaukee, that Lindor reached out, that Minaya reached out, that Rayleigh and Minter reached out, and he said he felt welcome. Like he felt this was a place that wanted him. So it was his little indirect shots at the Yankees. I smirked at it, but I think if in order for Met fans to forget Diaz, you have to hit it out the ballpark from here on out. It's going to suck for a couple days unless something drops tonight or tomorrow. I want Skubal. I've always wanted Peralta. Don't give me this back of the rotation, guys. We need front end starting pitchers that when you have a losing streak that can pair with Nolan McLean. All these idiots saying trade McLean to get Skubal. You don't know baseball. You want to pair the aces. If you trade McLean, what's the point? You're going to have the same shit you had last year, except with Skubal at the top. And the rest of the rotation is not that good. So if you can pair Skubal, if you could put him with McLean, and you're probably going to have to give him a Sproat and or a Tong going to the Tigers with two or three other pieces. Make it happen. This guy's the best pitcher in baseball. Make it happen.
Like to Ryan's point and to piggyback what you was just talking about, and we'll get to more of the Yankees conversation. We just want to give takes when it comes to the Mets and their free agent situation that happened today with Edwin Díaz. But when it comes to the Mets, I've told you, Al, I'm on the record for saying it. I think the Mets, just like Ryan said, are the perfect pairing when it comes to Tariq Skubal. I know a lot of Yankee fans are going to hate me when I say this, but if it comes down to a prospect battle, the Mets are winning that battle every day out of the week, and it's not even close. The Yankees only have one top 50 prospect, and that's George Lombard Jr. When you look at the Mets, they have 4 top 50 prospects with one in the range of like 55 to 60. So you could basically say they have 5 top 50 prospects. So when you look into that perspective of it, the Mets can actually put together the best prospect package and use Steve Cohen's money to get another starting pitcher, maybe Valdez from the Houston Astros. That way you could have Tariq Skubal as your number 1, Nolan McLean as your number 2, Valdez as your number 3. That's a solid rotation. And if the Mets had a number 1 starter last year, if they had Tariq Skubal out, they're a 91 team. They're a playoff team. They're not missing the postseason if they had that number 1 ace. That was the issue. The Mets, they just could not stop the bleeding. They could not stop the bleeding when they were losing games.
It wasn't the mix in the clubhouse or none of that bullshit. At the end of the day, winning cures all that bullshit. It was the starting pitching. It sucked. They were 45 and 24. Nobody was complaining about chemistry then. You're the people saying, well, Soto doesn't look happy. And I've talked about this. Soto was not happy because he wasn't contributing. How stupid would he ever look smiling, $765 million, and not producing? He would have been killed for it. So I don't blame him for not smiling when he wasn't producing. When he started producing, he started smiling. He was interactive with the team more, but it was the starting pitching that did the Mets in. And you're right. If Skubal was a Met, there'd be a different conversation this offseason. They would have made the playoffs.
I also think for the clubhouse stuff, and you know, I think, as you mentioned, winning cures all. Do you think that Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto would be having, like, do you think that would be a story if they had won 95 games and had gone to the NLCS? Absolutely not. Like, no one would care. That's the other thing. No one would care, but it is a story when you lose. And I think that is such an important part of all of this. You talk about like Juan Soto and not even producing and like maybe not smiling because he wasn't producing. This guy was on a completely new ball club, his 3rd team in 3 years. Are we gonna really pretend that doesn't mess up anybody for a little bit, that wouldn't at least come up with some a little bit of awkwardness, a little bit of, hey, I'm in a new environment, new situation. I've got more attention, negative and positive, than I've ever experienced in my life. Juan Soto has never been a villain. No one has ever hated Juan Soto. And so these are different circumstances. I feel like when we talk about clubhouses, like, was it an issue in 22 when like people talk about, oh, well, they're you know, they felt like Lindor and Alonso, McNeil, and Nim were all leaders. They were all there in 22. They were all there in 24, right? I mean, it's not like that changed. I agree with you. I think it has a lot to do with just they didn't make the playoffs. Now it's a story. And I also want to note with Nolan McLean, because he's one of my favorite pitchers out there right now. Deep pitch mix, excellent stuff. There's a metric out there called Stuff Plus. It just measures the quality of your pitch grades. Essentially, how nasty are you? These are the guys he's in front of: Tariq Skubal, Zach Wheeler, Paul Skeens, Jacob deGrom, Christopher Sanchez. Like, this guy's in a tier of his own in terms of stuff. This guy is other level nasty. He's got a plus fastball, a plus sinker, plus slider, plus curveball, plus changeup, solid cutter. Like, this is the kind of guy where he has the finesse ability to throw 6 different pitches in a bunch of different shapes, but he also has the velocity and the movement where you're like, wait, that changeup did what? He throws some sliders where you're like, that's a wiffle ball. It looks like he's throwing a blitz.
That's what I said.
It's kind of like Michael King he stands out for his movement. If you've watched Michael King when he's on, you're like, whoa, that slider did what? But he throws harder than King. He's got more pitches than King. Like, this guy's a monster. So I agree. If the Mets trade McLean, I mean, Yeah, stupid. Stupid's the best way to put it, because I think he could be a top 25, 30 starter in Major League Baseball. He's got the upside to be a top 10 to 15 starter in Major League Baseball. So I wouldn't even consider that at all.
Hold on, there's something from Ken Rosenthal. He just put out.
Edward Cabrera talks are heating up.
Yeah, the trade talks are heated up around the Marlins, Edward Cabrera, with the Orioles now in the mix, which is interesting. This works perfectly and segue into the next conversation, because Pete Alonso, he had his comment. First off, when I first got here, we got the email that Scott Boras was supposed to be here yesterday. It got pushed back into today, and it's crazy because while Scott Boras was talking, the Edwin Díaz news dropped. But Pete Alonso met with representatives from both the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. We saw Pete Alonso wait damn near to spring training before he signed. I think that he's going to sign maybe before the winter meetings are over, or definitely before Christmas. Al, I want to ask you, if Pete Alonso leaves, you brought up Cody Bellinger. Where's the market for Pete Alonso? Like, do you want Steve Cohen to give him a 5 or 6 year deal? Where's the market in your mind?
I said the perfect deal. The Mets want to offer him 3. He wants 7. Just do 4 with a mutual option for a 5th, and let's just move on. But now Pete Alonso has the Mets by the balls, so to speak. They lost Diaz. They lost Nimmo. The fan base is pissed off. What are the Mets going to do? I was 50-50 about Pete. And then recently I've said, you know what? I want him back. Especially if he agrees to DH a good amount of the time, then I want him back. If not, go get me Cody Bellinger. Go get me defensive first baseman. Because that's what they would talk about, run prevention. And then let's just ride. I'll center fielder, if it's binge, so be it. They believe in the farm system. I heard David Stern talking today. They truly believe in all the young cats they have. The problem is in this market, the fans are not patient, especially after last season. The fans are not patient. That's the problem in the New York market.
Now, when it comes to Pete Alonso, I think this sets it up perfectly for him to join the Boston Red Sox. Now, especially now with the Ketel Marte news coming out that the Red Sox offered the best prospect package to bring him back to Fenway. When you look at it, the Boston Red Sox have one of the best farm systems in Major League Baseball. They could trade away some key pieces and still be very competitive, especially if they bring him Ketel Marte, who's 31 years old. I think Pete Alonso, you put him at Fenway Park, you put him with the Green Monster, he's a borderline. He could probably win a batting title in Fenway Park the way that he just golfs his swings as a pull hitter. Ryan, should Yankee fans be nervous about Pete Alonso possibly being in Boston?
So with Pete Alonso's swing and the fit there, as you mentioned, it's something where, you should be worried if he ends up there. I think he ends up a Met. I think the Mets bring him back. I think the number one thing I keep coming back to is the fact that we did this song and dance before. If you guys remember, Toronto's about to sign Pete Alonso. I remember this. I remember every single rumor, how dead it felt for Alonso to return to the Mets, just for that door to open back up again. I do think that Pete Alonso wants to be a Met. I think he's trying his hardest not to let that show, but he really wants to be a Met. That's how I view this. Not that he doesn't want to be in Boston, not that he would hate being in Boston or anything of the sort, but I don't get this sense that the Mets are going to cheap out on Alonso. People can go, well, they were cheap on him last year. No, they gave him what the market determined he was worth. The Mets perfectly read out his market and signed him to a deal that was incredibly friendly. That's one of the best signings anyone made that offseason. Teams are probably kicking themselves going, man, imagine if we signed Pete Alonso. The Blue Jays, do you think the Blue Jays won the World Series if they have Alonso at DH or Vlad at DH and Alonso at first instead of Anthony Santander? That one decision might have cost them a World Series. The Yankees could have signed him and said, hey, we'll sign him. We'll have, the Rice at DH situation. We'll navigate through there. A lot of teams could have signed him. And the Red Sox could have signed him. A lot of teams could have signed him. The Mets, I think, are going to read the market well again on Alonso. And I think they're going to get their guy back. I don't think this is like Diaz where you had a real big market. Like, yes, we can spend more than you or as much as you team in the mix. The Dodgers aren't getting Pete Alonso. The Red Sox, that's not the kind of team that can offer Alonso this crazy high AAV deal that the Mets can't get to. Nor do I think the Red Sox would, if you think the Mets are this, if David Stearns is this cheap, he relies too much on analytics, he's a cheap GM. The Red Sox are pretty much built in the same way where they very much hate handing out bad contracts. So don't think they're going to be the team that does something stupid for Pete Alonso. I think the Mets will bring him back.
Future, I want to kick it over to you. First off, shout out to Future behind the scenes, the man at the helm, the man in the chair, as some superhero partners have. Go ahead, Future. Let's get your take on the conversation.
When it comes down to Pete Alonso, I have this really odd feeling that he is not returning, and I think it's because there will be a team that will offer him the contract he's looking for. Not to sit here and say that he doesn't return to the Mets, because I strongly feel like his market with the Mets is a perfect stage. And now with Edwin Diaz leaving, the Mets are in a situation where it's like, do you really want to sell the younger guys or even a guy like Bellinger, or do you bring back Pete? And I strongly feel like they're going to be put in a situation where they have to make that decision, but not like down the line. This is a now decision. Like, you have to make the decision now. If you choose not to bring back Pete Alonso and he goes elsewhere, what do you pivot to? Do you pivot to Cody? I would hate it, but do you pivot to Cody? Do you pivot to other players that are out there? I would argue what they could probably pivot for Suarez as another pivot move. So there's always that, and he's a name I haven't heard at all. All the big talk of Suarez for the deadline last season. Has anybody heard anything when it comes to Eugenio Suarez?
Carlos Baerga did tell me that he's hearing chatter on both the Suarez's. So let's see what happens. It's just a wait and see approach. Guys, we're just rocking out. We got 663 people in the building watching us collectively, over 100 people on YouTube. Smack that like button. We're sitting on 40 likes. Hit that subscribe button as well. We're going to rock out to about like 9:15. Ryan, I just want to make sure you're good with timing. At any time, if you have to dip, you just let me know, bro.
We're good. We're good. We are good. Don't worry about it.
Copy. Theo Al, I want to kick it back over to you because there's a lot of chatter back and forth. I want to get your take. And of course, Al, let the people know, when's the next time you're live on WFAN?
I want to bet with Sean Marash. So I will be with Evan and Tiki and Tommy this Friday, 2 to 6:30 on the Fan. Football Friday, joining them.
Copy. And make sure you guys follow Theo Al because he has all the best parlays, even though the ones he sends me, I always lose. And the ones he send me that I don't play, he always wins. So we got to figure out this situation, Al. We got to figure this shit out, okay?
I'm on a cold streak. I'm on a cold streak right now, bro. I'm on a cold streak. Don't put me out there like that. I'm on a cold streak. I was red hot.
Yeah, you was red hot when I was in fucking Japan and I couldn't bet. But go ahead. The floor's yours.
Sayonara to you. No, but to talk about Pete Alonso or Cody Bellinger, both. I mentioned this for months. I want both. You could Pete can DH when Bellinger plays first. He can play left and Alonso plays first. We all know. You guys know the versatility. Cody Bellinger is Gold Glove and all that stuff. Is the perfect bat in the Met lineup as well. Righty lefty. You have Lindor, Soto with Bellinger and Alonso. That's a nasty front four to deal with right there in the lineup. And then you just got to fill out the rest. Get Jeff McNeil's rat ass off the team. That negative, you know what? I can't stand that mother. I'll behave. I can't stand him. I want him off. I want him off the team. The problem wasn't the top four Mets last year. It was the rest of the lineup. It wasn't Nemo, Lindor, Soto, and Alonso, especially down the stretch. It wasn't them. The rest of the lineup stunk. So what do you do at third base? Brett Beatty, he's going to get the shot. He earned it. He should get the shot. At second base is going to be Simeon. I think he has a bounce back season considering he won't be playing 81 games in Texas, which is a hellhole for him. His numbers on the road were much better than they were at home. And I think he's going to be rejuvenated in New York with Lindor, with Soto, with the rest of the cast of characters. The Mets fans cannot afford more than ever to lose Pete Alonso now. 100% they need to bring Pete Alonso back. If they don't, maybe a lot of Mets fans are going to feel like me. I'll be at opening day because it'll be Skeens versus McClain. Other than that, you're going to have to prove that this team's legit for me to go spend any more money at Citi Field. And I go a lot, and I don't live too far away. I'm going to take the wait and see approach after opening day if the Mets don't do the right thing the rest of this offseason.
Now, something that I want to bring up when it comes to and pertaining to the New York Yankees, the whole conversation around Cody Bellinger. Shout out to you, Future, earlier that brought it up when it came to Jason Dominguez. And when he was in winter ball, it was being used. I think it was Ace that brought it up, that it was being used that Jason Dominguez in winter ball was predominantly a right-handed batter.
It was me and Grace were having the conversation about that, talking about how Jason was predominantly using his right side of the plate, and he was facing both righties and lefties while batting for the right side. And this isn't me just looking at reports. I watch the games. So, I'm watching the games. I'm sitting here watching his at-bats, and they were good at-bats for what it's worth. The numbers were not all too great, but he also didn't play every single day. And he also had a very limited time. I don't even think he's on the team anymore as of right now. So his Winter Bowl stint is, I believe, over. I don't quote me on it. So
No, it is. Their team got eliminated. The championship series is in February. Latino Sports is supposed to be down there covering it, but his team got eliminated.
okay, so like when it comes down to it, his Winter Ball stint is up. His numbers don't look too great, and you can look at it face value saying, "Oh, he didn't progress." But the reality is, he was there to work on things. He wasn't there to be heavily competitive. So you have to take with the mentality that he's working on himself and working on his swing and also his defense, which was a big thing for him in Winter Ball more than anything because he was playing a lot of left field. He wasn't playing any center. So any Yankee fan who's going to come out saying move Dominguez to center, the whole reason he's in left is because he cannot handle center field. His routes in center field are god awful. They are so bad. Also, Jake is behind you. Hi,
I had
Jake.
no idea Jake was behind me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Hi,
say
Jake.
hi to him, brother. Jake, everybody's saying hi. Hold on, wait. Let me turn this off real quick. So we're here with Ryan from Fireside Yankees, Theo Al Cintron from WFAN, and my producer Future. Let's get your take real quick. What's your thoughts on the Yankees? Who's making a move as you're sipping on some high quality H2O?
Yeah, this is water. I don't know, man. I'm nervous like a lot of Yankee fans. I don't think there's a clear path right now to whatever we want for the Yankees to feel like the Yankees. Like even if we re-sign Belly, the offense is back to square one. Mm-hmm. That I'm a little nervous. Cashman kept saying the right-handed batter thing. Jimmy was downplaying that a little bit, saying kind of like, Ahmed Rosario was a right-handed batter they got at the deadline last year. But Paul Goldschmidt was so good for us for so much of the season, and he's gone. So, I don't know. I'm more worried about the hitting. I think we should sign an impact hitter, trade for a pitcher like an Edward Cabrera or Joe Ryan, use some of our prospect capital. But I'm nervous, man. The Yes Network is packing up right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're not expecting news. So this could be –
I
feel like this is going to be like a long Yankee offseason.
Yeah. But it's a wait-and-see approach for the Yankees, Jake. Thank you so much for stopping by, brother. Thank you like always.
Hi, Jake.
Have a good one, brother. Have a good one. BBD, they shouting y'all in the chat, bro. They shouting y'all in the chat. Go ahead. Al, I lost my train of thought. I was talking. Someone take it.
Random. We're talking about Jason, and all of a sudden, Jake shows up.
Yes, thank you. All right, no, I want Ryan going now. I remember what I was thinking about when it comes to Jason Dominguez. Ryan, what do we make of it? You heard Jake talking about Cody Bellinger with Trent Grisham in center field. We have Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones possibly in the mix for left field. What do Yankee fans, or how should Yankee fans react right now?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at Jason Dominguez and the way I look at Spencer Jones, I don't view either player as this guy that the Yankees view as like a savior. I mean, Brian Cashman said verbatim, worst case scenario, Jason and Jones, the kids, battle it out in left field. That is not the kind of thing you say when you're ready to roll into your season with one of those two guys, your everyday starter. Worst case scenario, if nothing happens, that's what we're doing. So I think that one of these two guys are going to get traded. I stand by that. I think that the way that the Yankees have acted about these two guys have not been in the manner of players that you treat as, these must-have, must-bring up, must insert into your lineup. And it's not that these guys are bad. I don't think the market views Jason Dominguez as a scrub, or the Yankees view Jason Dominguez as a scrub. And I would extend that same statement to Spencer Jones, but I definitely believe the Yankees think they can do better. And I don't think that Jason or Spencer Jones is stopping them from getting a Cody Bellinger, from adding to the outfield in whatever way it can. And you can use that outfield depth to improve your roster elsewhere. So even if the Yankees are like concerned about payroll, if you were to, let's say, pay Cody Bellinger and then trade an outfielder like a Jason in a package for, like, let's say, again, let's throw Mackenzie Gore's name here. You're adding like what, 31-ish, 32, 33, depending on the AAV for Bellinger, that much to your payroll. And then at that point, you can just go, all right, Ahmed Rosario, let's bring you back. Let's do the thing we always do, which is trade for some reliever I've never heard of. And he's not making any money, and he somehow becomes your 7th or 8th inning guy. And you've got a ball club. Is it the best ball club in baseball? No, but you've definitely got a ball club you can throw out there and say, hey, this team can compete. This team can win ball games. It just depends on, again, can they add an outfielder? And again, like, are they trading Jason or Spencer? I would still put my money on like one of those two guys are not in the organization.
Yeah, and if I can, I'll throw Luis Hill into that mix, especially if the Yankees are able to trade for Mackenzie Gore. I said this a couple of shows ago. If Kyle Tucker, right? If Kyle Tucker played for any other team in baseball, not named the Houston Astros or the Mets, Luis Hill would have got traded last offseason and Kyle Tucker would have been a New York Yankees. The Yankees did not want to trade the rookie of the year, a starting pitcher, to the Houston Astros, a team that kicked their ass for the past how many years in the postseason. So I'm on the record for saying that when it comes now down to either Jason Dominguez, Spencer Jones, or that whole mix, I'll toss it over to you. As I toss it over to you, I'm going to bring up some fellas that I threw the bat signal for. You guys know we're live always on YouTube, but we go live on TikTok. I'm bringing up some dope content creators, 3 fellas. One's a Met fan, one's a Yankee fan, and it's random. One's a Milwaukee Brewer fan. It's very random, but I love them to death. Al, go ahead, brother.
About Jason, wasn't Jason Dominguez? Let me ask you, diehard Yankee fans. Wasn't his biggest issues against left-handed pitching? So why are they having him work only on the right-hand side if that's where he struggled from?
The whole issue is to do exactly that, to get him better from the right side, because his weaker side is the right side, not the left side. The left side, he is at least at minimum a 280 hitter from the left side, but from the right side, dude can't hit for anything out. Like, let me tell you, it's bad. It's bad.
But you said he was practicing righty versus right-handed pitching as well.
It was predominantly just to use his right side.
Okay,
that was the whole plan. So you have that context for you, Al.
All right. Well, now I threw this out on the radio. Would you guys trade Lombard Jr., Jones, Dominguez, and somebody else for Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Yes, I would trade the whole farm.
Oh, 100%. I'll trade my grandmother and her.
I will trade the entire. I will drive. Al, I will drive them myself. I'll figure out a way to get a license and drive them myself if it meant getting Fernando.
You know, there's Uber now, bro. You can just order him an Uber and then pick him up.
I want to personally drive Fernando to Yankee Stadium.
Future doesn't have a driver's license. Ryan, I saw earlier you posted about Fernando Tatis. Let's get your take on it. 1, would you trade those prospects? And 2, what's the reality? And then afterwards, I'm going to kick it over to my guy, Brew Crew, so he can lead us in the next topic. We're going to rock out, like I said, to about like 9:15. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I would give up the rights to every minor league affiliate the Yankees have for Fernando Tatis Jr. Like every single one, the entire rosters, any player who ends up on the roster, like everything, all of it. But in regard to like, can the Yankees get him? No. Why would the Padres? Like, yeah, I know the Padres have financial issues, but you mean to tell me that the guy they're going to trade is their biggest draw, their best jersey seller, their most notable, marketable, their best. They're like everything. They're everything. They're franchise, and he's on the contract too.
The reason I said that is because I asked that question on my show, and I brought up. I was just with the Yankees' top prospects. Yankee fans tell me no, they wouldn't trade all those guys for Fernando Tatis. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you'd have to take those. Like, no disrespect to those people, but if you, as a Yankee fan, say no, I wouldn't do that. Like, you just hand in your baseball fan card. You can watch the games. You can enjoy the game. Don't talk about baseball. When somebody brings it up at the family dinner, don't talk. Don't add your opinion. It's not going to benefit the conversation.
I agree. I agree.
You're not contributing anything positive to the world. But yeah, I don't think Tatis is getting traded. Like, I don't see it. I can't see a world like why. It doesn't help your financial problems because you still have to pay players to play on your team. And no one's going to go. No one's going to watch, right? So I think that for Tatis, you look at everybody else. You want to trade with the Padres, look at anybody else. It's not Tatis. Maybe in a few years, maybe if they're uncompetitive, maybe if they just need to blow it all up. But right now, I don't think they're looking to blow it up. I think they're looking to try and sneak 1 or 2 deep playoff runs in with this core.
Okay. Real quick, I just want to add in real quick, and I'll toss it over to Brew. When it comes to the Padres and their financial constrictions, or if you want to say, or their payroll, you got other big contracts like Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. They both have no trade clauses in their contract. So, like Ryan said, you got to tell me you're going to trade the youngest out of the 3 of them, and you're going to keep the veteran aging players that are on a decline like Xander Bogaerts. There was chatter about the Padres trading one of their players today, or like an outfielder or whatever. That's not going to be Fernando Tatis. If anything, that's Jackson Merrill, because they gave him a contract extension and he's declined ever since the first year when he first hit the scene and he took off. But Brew, I'll toss it over to you. My man, Pots and Pans. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. As yearly offseason tradition, we have the Brewers in trade talks again, not getting a player, but looking to move on from some of their players. And unfortunately, these 2 players are actually been both linked to the Mets and the Yankees. And I'm talking about Trevor McGill and Freddie Peralta. And I'm gonna throw the question out to you guys first and foremost. Which one is most likely to land where? Which, I mean, you could say Freddie Peralta, the Mets, obviously the Stearns connection. You got to think about it like that. Also, Trevor McGill, his brother does play for the Mets. But at the same time, Joel Sherman did report that McGill, the Yankees did have a lot of interest in McGill. Obviously, that would be a nice bridge guy to Bednar. I'll just throw a question out to you guys. Which one would you see go where? More likely Yankees, more likely Mets? Just let me know.
Al, you could take it first and then toss it over to Ryan and then Roro and JV. Go ahead.
Peralta to the Mets. I've been wanting that for years. I can see it happening. I don't need another shitty McGill. I already have one in the Mets. I'm good with just one. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so in regard to the Yankees, I think that the more likely guy for them, and this is just my guess here, would be McGill. I know McGill had those comments about the Yankees and the torpedo bats at the start of the year, so it'd be pretty funny for them to go after another Brewers reliever who maybe doesn't want to be a Yankee. But in the situation with the Mets, I think that Peralta's the more valuable player in terms of a trade just because he's a starter. I don't know if that's the consensus feeling, but that's like my personal opinion. I would say the Mets are more likely to get the more valuable guy because the Mets have the better farm system. That's just that's not like a source thing. That's just pure like, okay, who am I betting to be able to pull in a bigger player on the trade market? I'll bet that on the Mets for that one. And for the Yankees, like I think that their eyes are going to be kind of centered on the starting market for like a Mackenzie Gore or maybe like another guy who's out there. I don't know who else that'd be. So yeah, I'd say McGill. And then Peralta Yankees for the Mets, but you could argue that either way. I'm not
about saying the Alcantara. I know the Marlins said they're open.
Yeah, I think if they trade Cabrera, like would they trade Cabrera and Sandy? Would they trade two starters in one offseason? So if they trade Cabrera, not that the dream is dead, but it goes from this could happen to not really sure.
Yeah, and if you're the Marlins, Sandy struggled last year. So if you were to move off of Edward Cabrera, you're going to get more value for Edward than you were for Sandy. If Sandy starts the season the first 2 months looking like a 60, 70, 80% of what he was before, that's value that they could trade at the trade deadline for a bigger package than they would get right now because of his struggles. Roro, I'm going to toss it over to you. One of the only other Met fans besides my mom and Theo Al that I like. Go ahead, bro.
First thing, Hector, thank you for having us up. This is awesome. Al, Ryan, watching you guys go at it this whole time. You guys are amazing. Love what you guys are doing with the show. Future, I have not seen you in the longest time. What is up, my friend? How are we doing? But Hector made a very good point, I believe, and if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. The last time that Steve Cohen got scorned, he went big. So how about
Ryan
made that point. Ryan made that point, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, how about the Mets go get both? Go get both. Solve your bullpen need. Stick it to Edwin Díaz, who just decided to walk away, and go get a frontline starter that you obviously need, that you desperately need at this point. You want to pair that and complement Nolan McLean. You don't want to put this rotation in his hands. Do I think he's capable? Absolutely. But in the same regard, you don't want to put that pressure on this kid. Let him do what he's got to do. Let him sit a little further back as a number 2, potential number 3. But in that regard, for the Mets, go get both. Go big.
I have news. Gregory Soto has landed himself in Pittsburgh on a 1-year deal, $7.75 million. Jeff Passan reported.
He got 7.7? Get the fuck out of here.
Hey. The Pirates, they made their big splash this offseason. Now they're going to be quiet. No more money going out.
Gregory Soto got 7.7? Sign me up, man. Let me loosen up this fucking off. What are you doing, bro?
$5 million. It's a 1-year deal to the Pirates.
God. JV, my brother, I'll toss it over to you. Let's get your take on what Brew brought up.
What's going on, guys? Theo, Al, Ryan, Future, it's a pleasure and honor to be up here with you guys. I think right now what the Yankees need, I think they need to address their bullpen. I don't think a guy like Peralta is in their plans. I think they need a bridge guy to Bednar. Obviously, losing Devin Williams. I think Devin Williams, if the Yankees would have brought him back, obviously would have been an 8th inning guy. So they need an 8th inning guy. I think McGill fits that mold for them. I don't think Peralta is somebody that the Yankees need. They have top of the rotation guys already. I think the Mets need a top of the rotation guy. I think them going after Peralta makes the most sense. Like Rose said, if they wanted to really flex the muscles, they could go after both. But I do think that they need to address their starting pitching right now. So with what I think the Yankees need to do, like I said, I think their bullpen, it's organizational need at this point. I think if you look at both organizations, the Yankees need to address their bullpen, and the Yankees need to address their bullpen, and the Mets need to address their starting pitching. So I think if they went after Peralta, it makes 100% sense. And I think if the Yankees dealt for a guy like either Fairbanks or the guys from Milwaukee, McGill, I think that's what the Yankees need to focus on, honestly.
When Jake stopped by, first of all, he scared the shit out of me. But when Jake stopped by, he mentioned how the Yes Network packed up. And last year at the winter meetings, it wasn't until the after Cashman spoke on the last day, like around 1-2 o'clock, they packed up. So for the Yankees and the Yes Network to pack up right now, I think that's a sign that the Yankees aren't going to do anything at the winter meetings as of right now. But if they were expecting any type of news to break, the Yes Network would not have packed up. SNY is still there, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they're not going anywhere. Trust me. Something's going to happen before it's over. They're not going anywhere.
Shout out to Chris Kirshner, Yankee beat reporter. He said, breaking news at the winter meetings, Brian Hoke, he got some flowers. So shout out to Brian Hoke for getting his flowers, one of the best beat reporters that are out there.
That's the Yankees hot stove right there?
That's the Yankees hot stove. Brian Hoke getting a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, man. How many years?
1 year. 1 year flowers. 1 year. 1 year flowers.
1 year, 45 flowers.
My light just died on me, so I don't have no light as of right now. We got over 800 people in the building.
Well, good, because you have the ass anyway, so don't worry about the lighting.
Al, wash your ass, Al. Ryan, I'm going to toss it over to you, brother. Last topic before we get ready to wrap things up in about 15 minutes. What do you make? Whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to talk about. And also, shout out to the chat. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so I do wonder with kind of the way that the winter meetings are going and the lack of activity. You saw Jack Curry kind of hints at, since speaking to people inside the Yankee room, there's just not a lot going on. I do wonder what the holdup is. I understand that there's not that marquee free agent like a Juan Soto, but even last offseason, we saw some of the middle of the market guys go. Bellinger, Devin Williams. Both of them were traded before January rolled around. I think they were traded before Christmas, actually. So a little bit interesting that things are slowing down a little bit. I'm a little bit astonished at the lack of movement. And I think it should be like a warning sign for MLB in terms of how they need to conduct the structure of the offseason. We can't have these 3-month, 4-month free agent trade sagas. I'm sorry. I can't have Jeff Pass in the middle of the winter meetings tweeting about a Vaughn Grisham trade. Can't have it.
Yeah.
I can't have it. Can't have it.
He's still in the league?
Somehow still in the league.
But the highlights they showed was him in the minors. So hey, yeah. you make what you want to make with that. Ari Alexander, who is a Boston Red Sox insider, Michael King has a robust market as of right now. The Yankees, the Cubs, the Mets, and Red Sox have interest in the righty Michael King per sources. So hey, the Yankees may be in on Michael King.
Well, let me go. If I can go, so I can watch this Knicks game. And it's been a pleasure. That's the guy I want, Michael King. You said the open floor. That's the guy I want. He's pitched in New York. He's gotten it done. He's a good dude. He used to come by my hotel almost every day to get his coffee. He's a good dude. I would love him on the Mets. I think the contract is right up David Stern's alley. 3-year, 4-year deal, not some 6-year contract that all these other guys want. If it's not him, then it's Freddie Peralta, who I've always wanted forever. As far as the Mets with the rest of the bullpen, you got to get Suarez or Fairbanks on the Mets. You have to. Because if Devin Williams, and I hope it's not the case, but if Devin Williams pulls in April and May as a Met, it is going to be a fucking long season in Flushing when it comes to who's closing out the games.
Devin Williams is the perfect product of analytics working. Toward the last 2 months of the season, his numbers looked amazing. Looking like what he was as a closer with Milwaukee. But the Yankees were picking and choosing when to put him in. He wasn't coming in big, high leverage situations. They didn't have him coming in with the bases loaded or runners on second and third with nobody out. They pick and chose where they chose his spots. David Bednar was that pit bull that if you needed outs, the Yankees went to Bednar and he came in that game and he was able to strike out the next 3 batters or strike out whoever he wanted.
Real quick, I didn't realize that Devin Williams, and he said it on Mets Hot Stove, he was traded the day before the season, some shit like that.
The day before the season?
Yeah, he was talking about he was traded, then he was playing with the Yankees, and he couldn't get situated. I don't know. Maybe he got his timeline fucked up. When exactly was he traded?
He thought he was going to get traded to the Dodgers. That's
what it was.
Going to be a Dodger, and then he ends up on the Yankees. And a lot of like what local reporters got the sense of was that he did not like he wanted to be a Dodger. When he thought he was going to the Dodgers, his agent's saying, "Hey, looks like the Dodgers are going to get you." He was very happy, and then he finds out he's a Yankees. Like, like he did not seem happy. I think it was Chris Kirshner who mentioned one of the first questions he asked was, "Is there going to be that many of you guys here every single day?" To the media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think he liked. I thought he hated being a Yankee. I really don't think he liked it. I think he started to come into his own at the end, but at that point, like, Yankees are probably like, yeah, dude, no.
Okay, that makes sense. I heard him saying something like that.
Ryan, you remember seeing it at Pinstripe Pride when he got mobbed by those Yankee fans? He looked like a deer in the headlight. He looked scared. Like seeing all those fans around him, he was super nervous.
That was new to him, and I do think the Mets are getting a version of Edwin Díaz that has now lived the experience. He clearly, like, if you're gonna tell me that that he couldn't get a deal elsewhere, that's not what reporting suggested. So if he really detested New York still, I think he would have left. And so I will say, and I say this as a Yankee fan who witnessed him essentially blow the division. I think the Mets are going to get a good version of Devin Williams next year. I think that they're going to get a strong season from him, a comfortable, a confident Devin Williams, not someone who from day one is the center of media attention because everyone's blaming him for the beard rule being gone. Not the center of attention in May because he's costing the Yankees baseball games. Not the center of attention in August because he's, again, costing the Yankees baseball games. Losing his closer job 2 times. Devin Williams was probably uncomfortably talked about. Like, that dude was talked about way more than he ever probably envisioned, even when he got to the Yankees. So, yeah.
Well, it's going to get worse if he's horrible for the Mets. Trust me on that one.
Theo, Al, I'm going to let you go because I know you need to watch your Knicks. What's the score?
Knicks just went on a run. They're up 21-20 still in the first quarter. Karl-Anthony Towns, of course, stupid foul problems. What else is new?
Theo, Al, wash your ass. Love you, man. Appreciate you like always.
I'll be on this. Don't forget to tune in Friday. I'll be filling in for Sean because I won my bet. So it'll be Evan, Tiki. I'll be in the booth with Tommy. I'll speak only when spoken to, according to Evan. We'll see. I'm Puerto Rican. We don't follow the rules. 2 to 6:30 this Friday on The Fan. 888-808-1019. Wake your asses up, fellas. Been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Have a good night.
All right. You too. Thanks.
I'll toss it over to you, JV and Brew, and Future to wrap this up. It's 9:07. Guys, we got over 840 people in the building, over 90 on YouTube. Double tap that screen, hit that like button, hit that follow button. Go ahead, bro.
Honestly, I want to go back to a little bit of the Pete Alonso thing because actually, funny enough, me and Brew were on the phone earlier today, not long after Edwin Díaz had signed with the Dodgers. And we were discussing now, does this put more pressure on the Mets to essentially sign Alonso, retain him? 2 fan favorites are now out the door. What does this mean? What does this do for his market? And I'm starting to really get confused as to why his market essentially didn't materialize, say, like Kyle Schwarber, for example. So I really started to dive in, and why maybe this is part of it. I'm looking at first baseman, and we could look at first basemen that are more recently retired, and you can go as far back as you want to. Look at the demographic of them. Look at especially the power hitting first baseman. What do they all have in common? Aside from one as of right now that I found, they all seem to break down and lose their power on a substantial amount at the age 34 through 36 season. Pete Alonso is at 31 right now. So that's why it seems the Mets are maybe a little reluctant to give him something more than a 3 or 4 year deal because they don't want to pay for Pete Alonso now for what he's essentially going to become. So I think that's a huge piece as to maybe why for 2 seasons in a row now, 2 off seasons in a row now, that Pete Alonso's market has not materialized like he has hoped. And the 7-year deal that the Mets had offered him 2 years ago essentially would put him right in that echelon, right at the end of that 35-year-old mark. And it was probably the best thing, and it was the best offer he was ever going to get as far as, having a long-term contract with money. And now I feel like he's trying to make up for it. And realistically, I think that's why his market is not what it is and not what everybody anticipated it to be. Because people look at Alonso and go, how do you not want 40 home runs and 130 RBIs? Because I don't want to pay the price for it, and then I'm getting 17 home runs and 60 RBIs in the future.
I also think with with Pete Alonso, a big part of this is and I know people aren't like wins above replacement shouldn't be a live or die by stat. There should be some wiggle room in that regard. But for a lot of teams, they have their models with wins above replacement where they judge a player's value off of that. If Alonso is peaking at around a 4-WAR player, I mean, what's the value of that on the market? I don't know. Like, what is the peak value of Pete Alonso? He is not someone who I think commands 35, 36, 37, 38, 39 million dollars in value, even in his peak years. So when we start getting to those declining years, I mean, if this guy's what's the aging curve for slow right-handed hitting first baseman? It's not great. It's not a great one. And I know Pete Alonso's a great hitter. I think he's one of the best hitters in baseball. But you have to take him off first base. He is someone who's kind of shown a hesitancy to be willing to play DH. He has kind of said, I don't want to DH. That's not what I want to do. So teams can't just sign him to do that. He is not the kind of guy that teams like paying anymore. Maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, this guy gets a mega deal. This guy gets a mega deal last year. But in today's game, where defensive value, long-term projections, not giving out bad contracts is more prioritized than ever before, just not the kind of guy that fits what modern GMs like to pay.
And if you're Pete Alonso, if you're having these conversations with the New York Mets, you're going to bring up the contract offer that they offered to Kyle Schwarber. According to the rumors, the Mets offered Schwarber $40 million AAV per season. He decided to say no. He decided he got that extra year from the Phillies. He took a 5-year, $30 million per season. So if I'm Pete Alonso, I'm going to argue with you. You are willing to give Kyle Schwarber an end division rival a 4-year deal at $40 million per season, and you don't even want to entertain that type of contract with me, or $30 million or $35 per year. Pete Alonso could easily tell David Stearns, listen, I don't want $40 million per season. You can't give me 30 or 35 over the next 4 years. If I'm Pete Alonso, I got the Mets on do not disturb.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a great point to make, and honestly, Heck, I think you brought up a great point when you look at the contract offers that Kyle Schwarber did get. I know the Orioles met with Pete Alonso. They offered him 4 years, 150, the same as the Phillies. Obviously, he chose the Phillies to stay in Philly, and that's perfectly fine. But if they're willing to spend that type of money for a guy like Schwarber, and they're meeting with Alonso, in my opinion, they're going to go in for one of these big bats at this point. And I think the Orioles and the Red Sox, both of them, are a little bit ahead of the Mets right now. When it comes to the race for Pete Alonso, I think the Mets could, reel it back in. I do believe they could at the end of the day, but I don't know. I feel like the Orioles or the Red Sox right now are going to be two teams that are looking at the power of Pete Alonso. And man, I don't know. I'm not that confident in him returning to Queens, if I could be honest.
JV, I want to toss it over to you to get your quick take on it. Throw it up to Future. Then we're going to wrap up with the panel, and then I'm going to kick it over to Ryan just to say his final goodbyes. I'm falling asleep while standing up. I've been here since 9 o'clock in the morning. JV, I'm going to toss it over to you.
I just want to address Jacob Petruzzi in the chat because he was reaching out to me. I couldn't type. Yanks it in on Imai. Why would they look at Peralta? I don't think they're going to look at Peralta. I think they're going to look at McGill, and I think the Mets are going to be the ones to look at Peralta. I don't think the Yankees are going to be in on Peralta at all. And I think they are players for Imai more than they would be for Peralta. But in regards to Alonso, honestly, I would really be surprised if the Mets didn't offer a 4-year deal just because he's a homegrown talent and he's a fan favorite. But I also understand if they don't do it. Like Rose said, he did the deep diving, and you look at these guys that hit age 35. I know if they offered a 4-year deal, it would end at 35, and you could probably get out of dodge a bullet there, would not have to pay him for age 36, 37, or even an age 38 season. But I really would be shocked if he did go elsewhere. But then again, like I said, I wouldn't be. If there's going to be a team that offers him 34 to 35 million, I think the Mets should easily walk away and close the book on the Pete Alonso era. I don't think first basemen are worth it, especially ones that can't play defense. And who's to say that his offense is going to keep up at this pace? In the next 2 years, maybe that bat speed does slow down. Maybe he doesn't hit 35 home runs and knock in 110. Maybe that 270 average that he had, this year dips to 240, and the strikeout rate goes up a little bit. So now you're looking at a guy that's making 34 to 35 million. He's defensively struggling, and he's also now declining with his offense. So I think, honestly, if the Mets walk away and they address the position elsewhere, I think it could be a win-win for both sides. I think if Alonso gets his money elsewhere, it's a win for him. And if the Mets can address it cheaper and get a little more athletic maybe at the position, I think that's a win-win for them as well.
Shout out to my good friend Grace Monroe, one of the other co-hosts from Yanks Morning Brew in the chat. Grace, I love you so much. Future, I'm gonna toss it over to you, but before I do that, Brew, JV, Roro, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for taking time, jumping up. I know I threw the bat signal late, but thank you guys for making time. Let them know, Brew, where they can find you, then Roro, then JV. Go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the platform. Heck, always you literally kill it on here, and you have a great morning show that I tune into whenever I can at work. Hopefully I don't get in trouble and get fired for tuning into your show, but it's all good. Where you can find me, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, BrewCrewSW. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Like I said, I appreciate the platform. Heck, as always, my pleasure being here. And yeah, I appreciate that.
Always appreciate you, Brew Crew. Have a good one. Roro, Mikey Caliendo, I'll toss it over to you, brother.
All right, so just to clear the air with everybody watching, and maybe Ryan, who doesn't really know me all that much, I know you see Mike and you keep hearing Hector call me Roro. So on TikTok, I am Rostep. That is my name. It is a shout out and a nod to my late grandfather, who's no longer here, obviously. That was a name that went to him. I'll dive into that one day. And also with Brew, JV, the three of us, we are JBM Sports Media. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We are on TikTok. So, we're up and coming. We're trying to be. We're posting content. We're pumping out as much as we possibly can. And any of you guys in the comment section, like what we're talking about, like our little theories and anything like that, give us a follow, give us a shout, give us a comment, give us whatever you want. Send it to your sister. I don't care. We appreciate any of it. Hector, Ryan, meeting you was a pleasure. Hector, as always, you are the man. Thank you for having us up here. We really do appreciate it.
My guy, Roro, love you, brother. JV, same thing going towards you. The other Italian stallion in the building. Go ahead.
No, it was a pleasure with meeting you, Future, for the first time, and Ryan, obviously you as well. You guys do a great job of what you do. Obviously, like Rose said, we are JBM Sports Media. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube as well. We do Instagram shorts, YouTube shorts. My personal TikTok is JVS88. We do some Yankee Met and more New York sports based content on that page. So you guys do a phenomenal job. It was an honor coming up here tonight and just shooting the shit, as they say, about baseball and the winter meetings. It's been a pleasure, guys. I really appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you, JV. Again, thank you for taking your time out. Appreciate you. Future, the man in the chair, bro. It's like Kim Possible. Let's get your final take before we wrap it up.
The only thing I could say is that I just don't know what it comes down to when it comes to just New York sports in general. We're at the point where both New York teams feel like they're at an impasse. We have the Yankees, who are indecisive on wanting to give proper years to Cody Bellinger, when you have guys like Kyle Schwarber getting 5-year contracts. So I think the Yankees need to learn that the market is different from how things were before, and they have to play to the market. And for Pete Alonso, I think he's going to go where he feels most appreciated. And considering how the Mets treated him last year, it's safe to say that I don't see him returning to the Mets. I just strong, crazy take. He's not going to Queens.
Future, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. All the hard work you're doing, because I'm here and I'm sending videos to Future on WhatsApp and he's editing them out for me. Future, appreciate you. All the work you do, not only for Uptown Sports TV, but for Latino sports as well, bro.
Of course. And Ryan, great talking with you, my guy.
Ryan, it was a great conversation. Again, thank you so much for coming up. We had a surprise from Jake. I wasn't expecting that. Let's get your last final take, Ryan, before we deuce out of here.
Yeah, first off, I want to say
yes, Ryan. We have somebody in the chat who says "What's up?" Who just
oh my gosh, that's baseball. Is
What's
that you,
going
man?
on, brother?
How you doing? Hope you're doing well, man. How you doing? He can't hear me. I imagine.
No, he can't. He can hear you now.
He can't hear you, Ryan.
No, I figured. I was like,
say what up to Ryan real quick.
What's going on, Ryan?
what you doing, man?
He's asking how you doing.
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm sorry
good.
I couldn't record with you yesterday, but
Nah, man,
I was a little busy.
Yeah, no, winter meetings, man. This is the big league stuff right here. I'll good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well.
He said, "Hope you're doing well." He said, "It's good seeing you." Let's get your hot take real quick on the winter meetings. What are you expecting to happen tomorrow, if anything happens?
Tomorrow, I'm gonna say hottest take: Pete Alonso signs. I'm not sure where. I'm gonna say somewhere either between Baltimore or Boston.
I love it.
Let the chat know where they could find you. Let them know your social media as well. You're over here working with the boys from Foul Territory. Let them know where they can find you.
Find me at And That's Baseball. My name's Jacob, and I do Fireside Yanks with Ryan every so often. So check out the pod. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'd love to have you on, brother.
Hell yeah.
Copy. Again, we have people walking down on us. That's dope. Ryan, my fault. Same thing going your way. Again, thank you so much for jumping up here. Appreciate you. Obviously, Fireside Yankees, Empire Sports Media. Let's get your last take before we get out of here.
Yeah, so hot take, Mackenzie Gore gets traded at 11 o'clock tonight. I don't know where, but that's my guess. He gets traded at 11 o'clock tonight.
I'm not staying up at 11 o'clock. You are vile for that, Ryan.
I'm just saying. That's a hot take, a little mix of like kind of what I was hearing today, and we'll see. We'll see if I'm right or wrong.
Copy. Ryan, also too, when it comes to Latino sports, we present the Latino MVP award in Major League Baseball. As a Latino, as somebody that works in sports media, I want to get your take. We've been presented it since 1990. Major League Baseball has stepped up since 2016 to sponsor the award. How do you feel as a Latino and the representation and push that Major League Baseball has given to us?
I mean, it's incredible. I think that we have to recognize the game is global. The game is global. The best players in the world come from countries that are not the United States. That's where we're at in this league. Shohei Ohtani's not from the U.S. Guys like Jose Ramirez, Juan Soto, Tatis, these guys are not from the U.S. Christopher Sanchez is like a top 4 or 5 pitcher on the planet. He ain't from the U.S., man. So, I mean, seeing the representation of the prominence of Latin media figures in the media world, that is a new step forward. I think great Hispanic ball players, we kind of come to know that that's a thing. Now we're starting to see in the media world. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I'm really I think it's really the direction the game needs to keep going, because I know there's a lot of passionate, very intelligent, very informed Latin sports fans out there who want their voices heard, and there's a lot of great Latin ball players who are very proud of where they come from. It's why I love an event like the World Baseball Classic, because it lets you play for something more than just the league. It lets you play for something personal, and that is where you're from, your home, and I'm really, I think it's awesome, man.
Listen, Latino sports, we're going to be down there for the World Baseball Classic in Puerto Rico and Miami and Japan as well. If there's any way to get Fireside Yankees or you guys from Empire Sports Media there, I'll reach out to you. We'll try to make that happen, bro.
That'd be great. Hey, man, let me know what you guys got going on, and we'll stay in touch.
Copy. Ryan, appreciate you, my brother. You have yourself a good night.
Peace out. Have a good night, man.
You too. I'm going to bring my guy Future back up in here. Future, thank you so much for being behind the scenes. Let's shout out to the chat. My man Blue Go is in the building. Shout out to Blue Go. Eddie Trinidad is in the building. Of course, the beautiful Grace Monroe is in the building. I saw Jacob's name and he was in the back of my head. Shout out to my man Yankee Dave is in the building. My man Anthony, how you doing? Salute, 3 capital S's. Zach is in the building. Zach, I hope all is well. My guy Jonathan said good night. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who is in the building rocking out for us. And like Grace said, Jacob Petruzzi is beautiful. Absolutely. Jacob is beautiful. Shout out to you. Let's see. Cool. SK is in the building. I appreciate you as well. Guys, make sure you guys visit latinosports.com. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go live again tomorrow from the winter meetings. We're going to do an early morning show. But until next time, I'm Hector. This is Future, Uptown Sports TV, Latino Sports, and we are out of here. Deuces, arrivederci. Bye. I got to get some sleep.
What are your thoughts when facing an opponent?
There is no